اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما انذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون فما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم إن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم فلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم انفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهلرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد ضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللنا لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي ينشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وضل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحتك الإثم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن توزعني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متضلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم أسألك من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عمل القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فاده من البلاء نقلت وكم من إثار وقيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وكسرت بأعمالي وقعدت بأغلالي وحبسني النفع بعد عملي وخذتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تخزني من خفي واطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجحالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف الضر والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت في هوى نفسي لم أعتزيني في من تزيني عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسأله على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي في قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصير وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفر مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ذري وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني وركة جلدي ودكة عظمي يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي حبني لابتدائك وكرمك والصالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذب بنار بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انتوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي دعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات. أنت أكرم من أن ترضي من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شئري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى الألسن نطفت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادها وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها ساعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا. ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المقاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء مكروه قليل مكسوه يسير بقاء قصير مدة. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المقاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول المدة ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا يقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضجه وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدتي أم لطول البلاء ومدتي، فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك. فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج العاملين، ولا أصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولو نادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية أعمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاك طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج المؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك، أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك، أم كيف يهركه لهيكها وأنت تسمع صوتا وترى مكانا، أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه، أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحساني، فباليقين يقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدك وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجلى ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا فتطولت بالإنعام متكرما: أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت عليه أجريتها أن تحبلي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل أملته كتمته وأعلنته أخفيته وأظهرته وكل صية أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين أقلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواري، وكنت أنت الرقيب على من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك الرق، يا من بيده ناسيتي، يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي، يا خبير بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل النهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي، يا من عليه مولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جواره واشدد على العظيمة جوانه، وهب لي الجدة في خشيتك والدوام في اتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنى منك ذنوب المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأكرمهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك مطيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، واكلني أثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بإبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافضل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سورة البركة الفاتحة.
Likes me. Sheikh Bilal, Dr. Dungersi, respected elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, let's try it. Alright, that worked. Tomorrow, Friday, Salatul Jummah will start at 11:30 a.m. with Dua Nudba with Sheikh Bilal. Today's program has been sponsored for the Ithal Thawab of Marhum Muhammad Raza Tijani, Marhum Akbar and Rubab Tijani, Marhum Munir Karmali, Marhuma Rehana Karmali, Marhum Saftar Hussain and Nurin Nisa Jalali, Marhumin of Tijani, Hirji, Khalfan, Jalali and Menji families. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We regret to inform you of the demise of Marhum Muhammad Raza Tijani, who passed away yesterday in Dar es Salaam. Marhum is the brother of Sister Hamida Jafar, as well as the passing of Marhum Abdul Jafar, who passed away in Bournemouth, London today. Marhum is the cousin of Azad Jafar. Let us recite Surah Fatiha for the marhums, as well as tonight's Surah Yasin has been sponsored for the Ithal Thawab of the marhumeens that are displayed on the screen. Let us recite Surah Fatiha for all marhumeen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A delegation of Al-Mahdi Center met with Commissioner Ryder and the Nassau County Police Force a few days ago to ensure all the appropriate security measures are in place as we welcome the holy month of Ramadan. Inshallah, in the holy month, we will share with you all the steps taken, and we will also have Inspector Hirsch, the commanding officer of the 8th Precinct who oversees Hicksville, visit us and will share with us all that the Nassau County Police Force do to keep us safe. We're also looking into onboarding into the RAVE system, which has been highly recommended by the Department of Homeland Security, who are with us today. Further updates will be shared. Mu'mineen, we'd also like to remind you in regards to the sponsorship for the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is starting next week, and we would like to fill up the first 10 days at least. So far, alhamdulillah, we have raised about $30,000 towards our goal of $240,000, and we are appealing to all our mu'mineen to please come forward to donate generously. Lastly, please join me in reciting the ayah of Amma Yujib 5 times for all those who are sick here and around the world. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mustarriza dha'u wa yakshifu su. 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Please recite aloud salawat for Sheikh Bilal. Wa Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
رحم الله من يقرأ سورة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، واللعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Your second salawat for love of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And your loudest salawat for ta'jeel faraj sahib al-asr wa zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Today's discussion is reverse in order. Typically on a Thursday night we discuss some fiqh first and we get into our discussion afterwards. Tonight we're going to do it the other way around. Reason being that with the advent of the month of Ramadan coming very, very quickly, it's valuable and worthwhile to discuss some of the important points of fiqh that are a good refresher in preparation for the month. So we'll spend a bit more time on the fiqh tonight, and briefly we'll mention some important concepts to keep into consideration with the preparation of this month coming. Allah gives us the instruction. He says, وَتَزَوِّدُوا, and make provision. فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى, and the best of provision that you can make is piety. One of the most important times for making of provision is this month of Ramadan. Is this month in which is the blessings of Allah. Is the month in which, when we take a look at, for example, the khutbah of our Holy Prophet leading to this month, we receive many instructions and guidances to promote our going forward and taking advantage of this month. There are 3 points in when we say making provision, وَتَزَوِّدُوا, how to make provision in this month. And there are 3 areas that have been concentrated on by our ulama in educating us of how to take advantage of this month. So spiritually speaking, in this month of spirituality, there are 3 areas to focus on. The first that the instruction is given to us is the idea of making provision in asking for your rizq, in asking for your sustenance for the year to come, in asking for the facilitation of your income, and that Allah removes the difficulties of the material necessities by our asking in this month. Take advantage of this time to ask Allah, oh Allah, this is the beginning of my year of spirituality. Let me take advantage to ask you that for this year, whatever my needs are, fulfill them in this month. So when we make provision, the first aspect of provision is to take advantage to ask Allah. Part of asking Allah is thanking Him and appreciating what He has given us up until now. How it was that last year we made this dua that, oh Allah, there are those amongst us who are jealous of the fact that they are not here with us today to participate in this month. And oh Allah, you have been merciful to give me this year and the opportunity again to worship you in this month, that if I were to miss it, it would be something that I would be sorry of and neglectful of. Being thankful of what Allah has given us and then asking Him for more, to say, oh Allah, give me sustenance, give me sufficiency, give me plenty, so that not just that this month, but until next Ramadan, my needs are satisfied so that I can ask you again. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. That if you are thankful to Allah, He will give you more. So the first of these provisions that we talk about is that provision of this world and asking for the rizq in this month, and where Allah describes and He says, I have sat you at my sufra, at my dining table, and I have invited you to take from me in this month. That we take first the material needs that we have and we ask Allah for those items that will be beneficial for us in this world. The second area of, for example, paying attention to and asking of Allah is through the affiliation and the association of dua and ad'iyah. That the learning the pleasure of supplication, the desire of the spiritual aspect of supplication is best fulfilled when the material is denied. A human being who is a composite of both a physical element and a spiritual element. More often the focus of man is on satisfying the physical elements that are present within him. We're worried about our food, our shelter, our security. But in the month of Ramadan, the most fundamental of those items of eating and drinking we forego. We let go of the material presence so that the spiritual essence is strengthened. So therefore we say that through this, oh Allah, give us the tawfiq of being aware of the spirit within me, and let my spirit connect to you through the words of dua. All of those du'as that we recite every night. Don't just recite them for the sake of reciting them. Rather pay attention that, oh Allah, let the voice of my spirit, not just my tongue, reach you in this month. Let my spirit connect with that which you desire me to be. The third area that, for example, is the greatest of benefits that we can achieve in this month, and there are many, but from amongst the examples of the ulama that they have given us instruction to concentrate upon, the third of those is the recitation and the affiliation with the Qur'an. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. Allah describes of this Qur'an, and He says that within this Qur'an is a shifa'a, is a cure and a protection for the believers. And for the disbelievers it will give them nothing but loss. This instruction of Allah is telling us that one of the most beneficial things that a mu'min can implement in his life, that will benefit him throughout his life and his hereafter, is the connection to the Qur'an. Let's take this month and focus on these elements. That one, we ask Allah for dunya as well as the akhirah. And in the dunya we ask Allah that you gave us provision that got us to this point. Then give us provision that continues. Two, oh Allah, give us the beauty of connecting with you through your word, through your dua, through your supplication, and through your command of denying the material and promoting the spiritual. And finally, we take this month, connect with the word of Allah. Spend the time in the Qur'an. Realize that within the Qur'an is a cure, is a protection, that it is a benefit that will gain for us. And in this way, when we focus on these three elements of growing our spirituality and collecting our provision for our needs for both the year to come and the hereafter to come, that these three areas of focus are places that we cannot ever commit to the fact that we have come to a loss by spending time in any of these three. By asking for Allah for more, by supplicating to Allah and learning the beauty of communication with Him, by learning the beauty of His word and His guidance on this earth. Let those be areas that we focus upon to prepare us for the hereafter and to prepare us for the benefits of this month. So in that we talk about the spiritual aspect of the preparation. Now to talk about some of the important ahkam that we need to pay attention to. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Within the ahkam of the month of Ramadan, if we were to mention these in sections and begin with the process, the first of the points that we mention is the concept of imsak. One of the things that shows up every year in the month of Ramadan is, what is imsak? Imsak essentially says that where is the point that we leave off or we separate and we stop our connection with the eating and drinking to start our fast. The actual point of imsak is just seconds before the adhan is given for the Salat al-Fajr. That when Salat al-Fajr, the adhan is given, at that moment is the moment that eating, drinking, everything should be stopped. However, what happens is that we don't know, because of light pollution, the exact moment or the exact second that that time of Salat begins. Which is why we have what is a calculated time of Salat al-Fajr. And what we say is that calculated time of Salat al-Fajr that we have here, and it's different in every area. In, for example, some parts of the world, the calculated time of Salat al-Fajr is before the actual Fajr. Our calculated time of Fajr is deemed to be after the onset of actual Fajr. Which is why what you'll have is you'll have Fajr, and before Fajr about 10 minutes you'll have something called Imsak. Imsak essentially says that from the moment of Imsak till the Adhan of Fajr, at some point in time in the middle, is when true Fajr, true dawn begins. But because of the presence of light pollution in our environment, we don't have the ability to note the exact moment and the exact time of day, that exact second that Fajr comes in. So we use Imsak as a precautionary time period that stopped by this point in time, because somewhere between Imsak and the Adhan of Fajr is true Fajr. So what we do is we leave about 10 minutes before, and that's it. What you'll notice is every calendar that does Imsak calculations does it a little bit differently. Some calendars will give you 10 minutes for Imsak, some will give you 15. At least about 10 minutes before Adhan of Fajr, that we should leave the process of eating to ensure that we don't inadvertently transgress the boundary of Salat al-Fajr and violate our fast before it begins. So Imsak is a precautionary, it's an ahtiyat. But it's an important ahtiyat to adhere to in the absence of knowing the true time of Fajr. The second point of looking at is the intention that we make for fasting. Now it's not necessary that, for example, every morning I make the intention, today I'm going to fast, it's one of the days of Ramadan. Rather, the intention that a person makes is that when Shahr Ramadan begins, that Allah has commanded us to fast in this month, and as soon as Ramadan begins, my intention is, I am a Muslim, it is Ramadan, I will be fasting. This consciousness of the fact that it is Ramadan, it is a month of fasting, is sufficient for someone to say that they've made their intention for the entire 30 days, that as long as the day is a day from the month of Ramadan, I will be fasting. I don't have to think about it again and again. Rather, it's something naturally intuitive that I can come to, and as long as that consciousness is present, then my intention is made. Now, there is the option, and it is written in books of fiqh, that you can make your intention for the entire month, or you can make your intention every day. Those, na'uzubillah, who have a sickness or an illness that may prevent them from being able to fast every day, or maybe they have a condition that prevents them from being able to fast, for that person it can be significant to make their intention on a daily basis, that every day that comes, is today a day that I possess the ability to fast? Is today not the day I possess the ability? But for the general majority of people, the intention from the first night of Ramadan is made, that the month of Ramadan has come, I will be fasting in this month. And I will be fasting because Allah has commanded me. I've now fulfilled my obligation. I don't have to go through the process of making a daily niyyah. The concept of a daily niyyah is more important or more focused on someone who may not possess the ability to fast for 30 days or is concerned with their ability to fast for 30 days, that they should renew and review their niyyah on a regular basis. But for the most of us, it's not something to think about. It's sufficient that once I know this is the month of fasting, I am a Muslim, it is mandatory to fast, I will fast. This concept of understanding it is mandatory to fast is one of the important points of understanding, that I have to fast. I can't choose. It's not a discretionary practice. That yes, okay, maybe I'll fast, maybe I won't. If Allah has made it mandatory upon me to fast, and I refuse to perform that action, then I have violated the rules of Allah that makes it an automatic sin. I don't have the discretion to choose if I want to or if I don't. This is an important concept to teach our children. That when Allah has commanded the month of fasting, it's not whether I want to or I don't. It's that I believe in Allah, I believe He is my Lord, He has commanded me in action. There is not my discretion to be involved in this decision. Rather, it is something that I must do. There are a total of 9, I have to remember how many fingers I have for a second there. 9 things that break our fast. Eating, drinking, having marital relations, the release of semen, staying in a state of janaba until Salat al-Fajr, ascribing a lie to the Ahlul Bayt, vomiting intentionally, inhaling thick smoke, and the use of an enema. There is a 10th item which is makruh in the eyes of Sayyid Sistani. However, some of our maraja have insisted that it is something that breaks our fast, and that is submersing the head entirely underwater. This can be mentioned in discussion. We'll go through these 9 items very quickly to mention a few of the key points. Afterwards, if you have any questions, we'll make space for it so that it's possible to have a discussion on these topics. But amongst the points that are relevant that affect us on a regular basis, from eating and drinking, the first 2 points, anything that enters through the mouth or even through the nose and goes down the throat is considered eating and is impermissible in this month. To that end, eye drops and ear drops that may be used are permissible. They do not impact the fast. That if a person uses eye drops, even if I can feel it in the back of my throat, it's not considered food, it is permissible to use. Eardrops, same thing. If I use drops in my ear, I feel it in the back of my throat, still is not considered food, is not considered eating or drinking, it is permissible. When it comes to nasal products, this is where we have to refer to the professionals of the industry, of the medical industry, to tell us that certain nasal products that we utilize are localized to the nose, are not intended to reach the back of the throat, nor should they. If there is a nasal product that is intended to be localized in the nose, is not intended to go in the back, does not go in the back without effort, it is permissible to use that nasal product. If, however, that nasal product by its nature is intended to coat both the nose and the back of the throat, it is not permissible to use within a state of fasting. When it comes to, for example, the mouth, it is permissible to brush our teeth. It is permissible to gargle with water in our mouth. It is permissible to even to, for example, floss our teeth. However, if there's something stuck between my teeth and it comes out when I'm in a state of fasting, it is impermissible for me to swallow that item, because that item is considered food and its swallowing is considered eating. Eating as a description is that which is put in through the mouth and swallowed through the throat. It does not matter if that's a small piece of food or a large piece of food. So meaning if I find something that's stuck between my teeth, around like midday, all of a sudden something comes loose in my mouth. I can't say, ni'ma min Allah, and eat it. I have to spit it out. I can't consume it. It's not permissible. However, now I'm not teaching anyone anything, I'm just discussing the fiqh. Let's say, for example, I forget that I'm fasting. First day of Ramadan comes, I forget I'm fasting. I go, I open the fridge and I start eating. And I eat a nice plate of food. And afterwards I realize, I was fasting. Is my fast valid? Yes, it is valid. We don't say that, for example, I ate that food, now I have no fast. No. That is considered rizq min Allah, that Allah gave you rizq, it's okay. But it doesn't mean that I forget on a daily basis that, I'm fasting today. But rather that if it should happen, there's no problem with it. And same thing, if I see someone, it's not my job who may have forgotten that they're fasting, and for example, a child who all of a sudden starts eating something, I shouldn't go up to them and yell at them, hey, what are you doing? It's not my job to tell them, it's okay. Let them go through that process, and when they come to consciousness, then they will be held accountable for their actions. That which we are unconscious of, Allah does not hold us accountable for. So something that's done accidentally, unintentionally, does not violate the fast, and that fast continues even in that situation. So for example, it shouldn't be that, for example, I'm chewing on something and I realize, it's Ramadan. Well, what can I do now when I swallow it? No, if I realize it in the middle of that process, I should take it out of my mouth and my fast continues as valid. It's about the point of consciousness. The third of these points, having marital relations, is pretty well evident in what it means. The ahkam of it are clear. For example, the fourth point, the excretion of semen, is something again that is understood that it is forbidden, and to proceed down an action that would cause this is also forbidden, and it should be something that's avoided. The fifth of these points, that is to stay in a state of janabat until Salat al-Fajr. This is a point that, for example, if I intentionally don't perform my ghusl of janabat before Salat al-Fajr, or I intentionally put myself in a situation that I know that I won't be able to, then I have committed a sin. If, for example, it happens that at 12 o'clock ghusl janabat is due upon me, and I say I'm going to sleep for a little bit and then wake up and perform my ghusl, and then I don't wake up, my fast can be validable in that situation. There are ahkam of this. But in general, one should pay attention to the fact that if ghusl janabat is wajib upon them, it must be performed before Salat al-Fajr, and to make sure that their fast is in order, it has to be done in its time. The next of these points is referred to as ascribing a lie to the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, and to Allah and the Ahlul Bayt. There's a few practical points where this comes into play. One that comes up recently and relevant to this discussion in a contemporary context is, someone is reading the Quran, for example, and they read it incorrectly. Have they violated their fast? Because essentially they're saying that Allah said this when Allah did not say this. Now this can mean two things. One is that I read it incorrectly and I know that Allah wrote it correctly, Allah gave it to us correctly, I misinterpreted. In this case where I'm saying I'm making a mistake in the recitation, or I can make a mistake in the recitation, that it is my mistake, not the revelation of Allah that is wrong, my fast is still valid, because I'm not ascribing a lie to Allah in this context. However, if I read something incorrectly and I insist that it is Allah who has written it this way, now I am ascribing a lie to Allah, and my fast has become void, and I have committed a sin. The other place where this becomes relevant is in your WhatsApp forwards, your Instagram posts, and I don't know what else people use these, TikToks, Snapchat, whatever it is. Where, for example, especially in the month of Ramadan, everybody becomes the religious authority that is sharing these forwards, and within these forwards many times is, Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam said, Imam al-Kadhim said, and you attribute a statement to the Imam. If someone was to ask you, are you sure the Imam said this? And you say, no, I have no idea if the Imam actually said this. It was given to me, so I gave it ahead. That statement, if it's wrong, is a lie. And I have attributed a lie to the Ahlul Bayt. Which is why, be very careful. You want to do your forwards, you want to share religious content, be careful. Structure it correctly. I can say, in this book, it is said that Imam Kadhim said. Or Shaykh al-Qulayni in Al-Kafi wrote that Imam said. But if I immediately make the direct statement to say that the Imam definitely said this statement, even if it's from a book, I am liable because I attributed that statement to the Imam. So it's very important to be conscious that either to know and to do the research and be confident and 100%, it's not sufficient to say that it was said in a book. No. Al-Kafi has never said that everything in Al-Kafi is Sahih. Bihar al-Anwar has never made the statement that everything in Bihar al-Anwar is Sahih. Simply saying that, oh, because it's written Bihar al-Anwar, the Imam definitely said this, is not true. If it's written Al-Kafi, the Imam said this, it's not true. We don't have the right to say that because it's in this book, it's Sahih. No. The research of the validity of the statement is my obligation. So if I want to share these things and I want to ensure that my fast is correct, one of the things that I do is I say, in this book, or this scholar has quoted that the Imam said this. I don't make the intention of saying that I am making the commitment. When I click that forward button, and in that statement it says that قال الإمام الصادق من أكل البصل المدينة دخل الجنة نعوذ بالله. Whoever eats the onions of Medina goes to heaven. There are hadith like this. They're not true. But if I make this statement, if I forward that statement that says that Imam Sadiq said this, Rasulullah said this, I am liable. My fast is jeopardized by that comment. I can say in this book it is written that Imam said this, and now I'm not liable. I'm giving the resource of the book. I'm quoting the book, not the Imam. So it's important. You want to forward, but pay attention to how you forward. What are you forwarding? Do not jeopardize your fast for the sake of the fact of clicking forward and sharing something and saying, I'm doing something good. It can happen by doing the intention of something good. I put myself into jeopardy and put myself into trouble. The next three of these, the inhalation of thick smoke. When it comes to the inhalation of thick smoke, that this is, for example, smoking, cigarettes, e-cigarettes, vapes, shisha. These items are the typical concepts, or for example, thick steam that would be, for example, in a sauna. Sauna is not permissible. Or you put your head over a pot and inhale everything that's coming in out of the pot. These are not permissible actions, and by performing them, our fast is violated. One of the points that, for example, doesn't violate is if you go into a hot shower. You don't go into the hot shower with the intention of the steam, nor is the steam so thick and so heavy that it's something that I'm ingesting the steam specifically. Now, if you're trying to scald yourself, I don't know. But the common person would not use water that's hot enough to produce the type of steam that would violate your fast. So using a hot shower is not a violation of fast. However, I will mention that there are various ulama who have said that taking a hot shower in a state of fasting is makruh if it causes weakness. So at times a hot shower can cause weakness. So therefore be careful that if it causes you weakness, then don't perform this action in a state of fasting, lest that it makes your fast more difficult. But the common context of this is, for example, cigarettes, vaping are impermissible. Ihtiyat wujuban. They will violate your fast. It is not permissible to perform these actions. As a counterpoint to this, one of the questions that comes up is, what about nicotine patches? A nicotine patch is similar to the idea of an injection. That according to Sayyid Sistani, any injection, any IV, anything that is not considered orally consumed is permissible. So to use a nicotine patch is permissible. To use an IV, by Sayyid Sistani, some Maraja may have a different opinion about this, is permissible. To give blood is permissible. Now, even the giving of blood, it can be makruh if it causes weakness. That if I feel that it will cause me weakness by doing this action, don't do it. But in its essence, in itself, it's permissible. Even if I'm being given nutrition by an IV, it is permissible. Even if I'm being given whatever they call a banana bag that adds potassium to your blood, rehydrates you, it's permissible. It's not a problem. But the use of anything that's ingestible and that smoke that can be ingested is not permissible. The next of these points of the use of, for example, an enema. An enema which uses a liquid base is impermissible. It's not allowed. However, a suppository is allowed. If, for example, a person, because of a necessity, has to take a suppository, it's allowed, but an enema is not allowed. Further to that, the aspect of it being an enema is what's forbidden. If, for example, someone has to use a liquid or a cream on the area, that's allowed. But the actual putting into the body fluids through the use of an enema is not permissible, and that will be something that violates a person's fast. The final of these points is, we did the smoke, we did vomiting. Intentional vomiting and inducing a person to vomit on purpose is forbidden. If a person naturally, it happens without their control, whether through an excessive cough, whether through any particular condition that a person vomits, their fast is not automatically broken. Unless if I force that vomit out, whether through my finger, whether through I knew that by smelling this substance 100% of the time, I will vomit, and I smell that item on purpose, then I have committed a sin and I have broken my fast. Otherwise, if it happens accidentally, there's nothing wrong with it. My fast is still valid. Now, one of the points that's important to note is sometimes what happens is something comes up into the mouth, and we stop ourselves before it goes out. You can't put that back down. Once it enters into the mouth, if it enters into the throat, you're fine. It comes up, it goes back down, okay. But if it enters up and it comes into the mouth, it's haram to swallow it again. You have to spit it out. The same comes with any phlegm or any other substance. I may even have a postnasal drip. The postnasal drip on itself, if it's dripping into the back of my throat, does not violate my fast. But if that postnasal drip comes into my mouth, swishes around for a second, or doesn't, and then goes back down, that's not allowed. Because now it's gone back into a separate cycle. So the same thing, if something comes into my mouth, if I have some reflux or something that comes up, I don't have the right to swallow it, I have to spit it out. Otherwise, I've entered into the realm of eating and drinking, and I've violated my fast in this process. Now, one of the important points to note as we go through these 9 items is, let's say, God forbid, I did one of these 9 things and I broke my fast. One of the mistakes that happens is I think I can now behave as if I'm not fasting at all. Now I can eat and drink whatever I want to. No. If I violate my fast and my fast is broken, I have to continue the process of that fast still. And according to most ulama, anything that I eat and drink on purpose after this is a sin within itself, because the month of Ramadan I'm not allowed to do this action. This is different for someone who's sick and someone who breaks their fast. We're talking about someone who breaks their fast. Just because my fast broke because of an intentional mistake or intentional problem that I committed, I don't have the right to treat it as a normal day and eat whatever I want to. As well, now I'm not fasting. No. The sanctity and the hurmat of this month requires that even if my fast breaks, I don't eat or drink during this day, and I make up the fast and give the kafara if it's wajib upon me after this month. Versus someone who's through sickness or weakness or over, an excuse, winds up in a situation where their fast breaks. Because of weakness in their body, they can't continue their fast. Whether because of old age, whether because of a sickness, whether because of anything else. It is permissible for that person to eat, but they should still, as the ihtaram, the respect of this month, not treat it like a normal day, but limit the amount that they eat and what they drink so as to protect the sanctity of this month and its day, and to protect the responsibility Allah has, and honor the responsibility Allah has put upon us. These points of understanding are important for us to know what are our obligations, including the fact that one of the questions that comes up, is it permissible to travel in the month of Ramadan? It is permissible. You are allowed to travel, and as a consequence of that travel, it may be that you don't have the obligation to fast. But there are certain ahkam associated with this as well too. The first of these is that when I intend to travel, if I leave before Salat al-Dhuhr and I pass the point of being considered a musafir, which is had al-tarakhus, I've passed the distance that I need to pass, I've passed the physical entry or limit of my city, and I've gone out of it, now I can break my fast. I can't make the assumption that, okay, today I'm going to go to, for example, Ohio, so I'm going to start eating at home in the morning, even though it's the month of Ramadan. No, I have to observe the fast until I pass the point in which now I'm no longer fasting. If it should happen that, for example, I leave Long Island, I go all the way to New Jersey, and then I come back before Salat al-Dhuhr, and then I say, well, I left, and now when I come home, I want to eat a sandwich. I can't do that because I came back before Salat al-Dhuhr. Even if I traveled and I didn't eat anything there, my fast is still valid. The only way that this works is if I leave my house, I go maybe all the way to New Jersey, maybe all the way to the Bronx, somewhere far away, and then I eat something there, and then I come back before Salat al-Dhuhr. Now I don't have an obligation to fast, because while I was at that destination, I was a musafir. The obligation to fast wasn't on me at that point in time. But if I come back to my house before Salat al-Dhuhr, now I'm not a musafir, it is my obligation to fast. I don't have the right to eat in this moment. Where this becomes relevant, let's say, for example, I'm flying in from California and my flight will land at 9 a.m. If I didn't eat anything when I left California, and I didn't eat anything on that flight, when I land at 9 a.m. back in Long Island, now I'm fasting. I can't say, oh, I'm a traveler today, or because of my travel I'm not fasting. I have an obligation to complete that fast, because when I reached before Salat al-Dhuhr, I was in a condition and a place where fasting was obligated upon me, and I have to complete that action now. The same is true in the other direction, that if I am in a state of fasting and I want to keep my fast, I have to return back home before Salat al-Dhuhr. For example, I have a cousin who lives in New Jersey. I go tonight and I break my fast with my cousin in New Jersey. I can stay the night there as well too, as long as my return to my house is before Salat al-Dhuhr. And then my fast is valid, my fast is accurate, and I have no problem with it. These are some of the ahkam of this month to pay attention to be conscious of. The ahkam of, for example, kafara, the ahkam, for example, of zakat al-fitr, and some of the other points. We'll pick another night during the month and we'll mention them. But these as an introduction to pay attention to what are the important points. Now, from the final of these points is that in the end of the month of Sha'ban, it is incredibly mustahab to join the last days of Sha'ban with the start of the month of Ramadan, to the extent where the last day of Sha'ban is known as the fasting of Yom Shak, the day of doubt. That last day of Sha'ban, depending upon the moon sighting, we may or may not know. Could it have been the first? Is it the first? Is it not? So the intention for Monday, for those who want to, would be fasting Beniyati Yom Shak. That if this is the first of Ramadan, that I'm fasting because it is Ramadan. Otherwise, I am fasting because it is 30th of Sha'ban, and it's from the mustahabbat to fast on the last of Sha'ban. And attach it to the rest of our fasting for this holy month. And those that can, to begin even sooner, is even more recommended. There are barakat and benefits of fasting in the month of Sha'ban. It is incredibly mustahab, and to take advantage of. Any questions? Everybody's okay? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
We raise our hands in dua. Nad'uka bismika al-azim al-a'zam al-a'azz al-ajall al-akram. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Ya Mahmud bihaqqi Muhammad. Ya A'la bihaqqi Ali. Ya Fatir al-samawat bihaqqi Fatima. يا محسن بحق الحسن يا قديم الأحسان بحق الحسين. Oh Allah, accept a small ibadat from us. Ya Allah, give the thawab of this majlis to the marhumin of tonight's sponsor, to our marhumin and all those who are in need of dua. Oh Allah, forgive our sins and cover our flaws. Oh Allah, keep our children on the upright path of Islam. Oh Allah, we have gathered here with hajat by the right of this Thursday night, by the right of the month of Sha'ban, and those who are born in this month, fulfill our hajat. Oh Allah, there are those amongst our families, the mu'mineen, who are suffering through sickness and disease. Ya Allah, give shafa'at to the mu'mineen wherever they are. Oh Allah, those who are suffering through insecurity and difficulty, give aman to the muslimeen and mu'mineen wherever they are. Oh Allah, keep our children on the upright path of Islam. Hasten the reappearance of the master of our time, Sahib al-Zaman. Make us and our families from the upright supporters of Sahib al-Zaman, and entitle us to the ziyarat of Aba Abdullah in this world and the shafa of Aba Abdullah in the hereafter. 1 Surah Fatiha, 3 times Surah Ikhlas, with your loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. توجه زيارة إن شاء الله.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى، السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن الثار والوتر الموتور، أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر واعتات الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين، فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأسلاب الشامخة والأرحام المتهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبيا بكم موقن بشرع ديني وخواتين عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أسفياء الله وأوداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله، بأبي أنتم وأمي تبتم وتابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن السيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر والأخ الدافع عن أخيه المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل، والحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين زين العابدين، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر، السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق، السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم، السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي، السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد النقي، السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري، السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان ورحمة الله وبركاته.